Credit cards are the devil reincarnate. If you are not using them correctly, there is a train. There's never trains, but there is one right now. When deciding what credit card is going to be most beneficial to you, you want to be paying attention to things like... Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby if you don't already know me, and I love to talk all things personal finance, organization, and lifestyle. And today's video is going to be all things credit cards. I have a lovely little friend right here. Orlando is sleeping, and I usually purposely move the tree out of the back of my video, but you guys seem to like it when you can see Orlando, so he's just right there, and Oscar is right here on the couch next to me as well. So we have some friends for this video. I wanted to do a video about all things to do with credit cards. I've had lots of questions about credit cards in the past, especially because I have quite a few. I just wanted to touch on points, how I use credit cards to my benefit, and then also, who are Canadian, some of my favorite credit cards in Canada. I think the very first thing I need to cover in a credit card video is, of course, how to use a credit card responsibly. I honestly did not fully understand how a credit card worked for a really long time, even though I had a credit card. So I think this is a super important piece to there is a train. There's never trains, but there is one right now. The way that credit cards work is super important to understand so that you can make sure you are never paying any interest. And basically, interest is the way that credit card companies make money off of you having a credit card with them. If you do not inquire interest, then credit cards are basically just to your benefit. You can gain lots of benefits from them, like points, perks, discounts, refunds. There's lots of ways that credit cards can benefit you, especially for things like travel. You just need to make sure that you're not offsetting those benefits by paying a bunch of interest, because then there really is no point. Credit cards are basically loans. They are forms of credit. They have a link to your credit score, and basically you are getting a loan from the credit card issuer for a certain amount of money. They usually will have a credit availability on that card, so they will offer you a certain amount of money. If you have good credit, they will offer you more and more over time, and this can impact your overall credit score. And every single credit card, on the day that you open it, will begin a cycle, usually about 30 days, where you can use that credit card, buy items, things that you need, and then after those 30 days are done, you will have your statement date. And this will be basically when that pay cycle has ended, and then you have a window of time where you need to pay that full balance off in a certain amount of time. It's usually about 2 weeks. And if you do not pay your full balance in that time frame, then you will start inquiring interest charges. Interest rates on credit cards are incredibly high. They usually sit at about 20%, and up from there, they can go 20, 25, 30. Not amazing. So if you think of the things that we all complain about interest rates on, things like mortgages, car loans, student loans, they're all significantly less than credit cards. They're usually at like in the 5 to 15% ranges. So credit cards are the devil reincarnate if you are not using them correctly. And I think we can all think that, oh, my interest was just $50, no big deal. It's like a dinner that I didn't have. But that $50 is actually a huge impact. If you were to invest that over the long haul, you have to calculate your missed opportunity by using interest in the wrong way. Basically, you are missing out on so much potential money by paying that $50 for no reason at all. And $50 a month is going to be far worse than the benefits of any credit card. No credit card is going to give you $50 every single month. I want everyone to reconsider the interest that they're paying on their credit card balance, and you need to use a credit card responsibly in order to benefit from them. Responsibly using a credit card would entail that you never pay interest. You are always paying the full statement balance before the due date. So you have your statement date, then you have your full due date. And you just have to make sure that the statement balance is paid off in full before that due date. I also highly recommend, if you are somebody who is going to start using a credit card for all of your day-to-day expenses so that you can get the most points as possible, you need to have an emergency fund and a savings account of at least 1 month's full expenses. Because you are basically paying your card in the future for what you bought in the past, if for some reason you need to pay that full card off, for example, if you need to close the card, or I don't know, something comes up and you absolutely need to pay that credit card off today, even though you still have to continue spending on your day-to-day expenses, you basically need to have a full month's expenses to get back to zero. So I highly recommend having at least 1 full month's regular expenses in a savings account, emergency fund, so that you can safely use a credit card. Okay, now that we know how to safely use a credit card, we can actually learn how to use these credit cards to our advantage and make some money back for ourselves. There are definitely many different types of perks with credit cards. A lot of them will work in a cash back sort of format, so you are getting money back onto your card every single month based on the amount that you spent on that card. So it's something like 2% cash back. Other credit cards will have a points-based system, and you can use those points for things like travel, gift cards, or you can even use those points to pay down your balance. So you need to decide what is most beneficial to you. If you are a student, for example, or a lower income earner, it might be more beneficial to have a cashback card that can help you counteract things like tax or day-to-day inflation. So getting 2% back on all of your purchases might be beneficial to you at this stage of your life. Or if, for example, you love to travel, I would definitely recommend going for a more so travel-based credit card so you can get points for things like flights, and you can also get discounted rates on flights. A lot of people, how they end up flying first class is by using their credit card points. When deciding what credit card is going to be most beneficial to you, you want to be paying attention to things like the annual fee, point multipliers, extra perks, and your approval odds. So let's dive in a little bit more into the annual fee. So most travel credit cards or cards that have good benefits will have an annual fee. This can range from a $5 per month charge all the way up to $800 a year. Typically, the higher the fee, the more perks you get and the more point multipliers. If you are a higher income earner and you are spending a lot of money on your cards every single month, a higher annual fee card might be more beneficial to you. But let's definitely not assume that just because there is a high annual fee that is the best card. Let's have a look at an example here. So this is the AMEX Platinum card here in Canada. This has an this has a $799 per year annual fee. With that, you get a $200 travel credit, so we can bring that annual fee down to $599. You also get a $200 dining out credit, so we can bring that down further to $399 or around $400. Excluding the sign-up bonus, if you were to make this card just your everyday card, you get 2 times the points on dining and food delivery purchases in Canada. You get 2 times the points on travel. You get 1 times the points on everything else. And you get 1 point on Amex travel that is booked eligible hotels or car rentals, which is virtually the same as every other good travel credit card in Canada. You're not getting any more multipliers. And this is also far worse than the far cheaper AMEX Cobalt card. Sure, you get lounge access and a bougie metal platinum card, but at what cost? You are basically paying for those things. You're paying $400. Plus, to hit the sign-up bonus, you can see here that you need to spend $10,000 on your card in the first 3 months. You also need to keep this card for the first 14 to 17 months, which is beyond the year. So you are actually going to be paying the $799 twice before you actually get the remaining 30,000 points. So let's have a look at point multipliers. As I mentioned, different cards will have different point multipliers. So a lot of cards will cater to different audiences. Some will focus more so on eating out and dining. Others will focus on just gas and grocery, and others just travel. You usually want a card that mixes a good point multiplier for all of these things. So let's have a look at the AMEX Cobalt that I just mentioned. The AMEX Cobalt is a fantastic Canadian credit card that has some of the best point multipliers out there. This card is often voted the #1 credit card in Canada for a reason. There is a $12.99 monthly charge on this credit card, so about $150 a year. With that though, you get 5 times the points on eats and dining and drinks. So this includes going to the bar. I got points when I got a beer at a hockey game. You also get 3 times the points on streaming subscriptions. So that was completely not included in the AMEX Platinum. You get 2 times the points on travel and transit, which includes Ubers, taking the train, and you get 1 times the points on everything else, same as the other card, and then the same additional point on Amex travel, eligible hotels, and car rentals. So this card is obviously far superior than the AMEX Platinum, and it's a much less annual fee. And this also has a great sign-up bonus. You don't get quite as many points, obviously, when you first sign up. This is a good credit card to have and to hold because you're going to be racking up so many points while holding the card. Lots of credit cards will come with extra perks. So these are also something that might be a determinant on what credit card you end up going with. Some typical additional perks, as I mentioned, are things like lounge access, travel rebate, or dining rebate. You may get partner discounts where they work with certain companies. You might get deals, percentages off. You can also get points with specific things like Aeroplan or Starbucks. And then you also will want to look at the insurance that come with those cards. So a lot of credit cards will insure your belongings that you purchase with that card. So for example, you buy your iPhone on your credit card and you lose that iPhone, you might be able to cover that iPhone with your credit card. So these are definitely not as critical, and I don't think these should be the #1 thing you were looking at, but they might help you sway in one direction or the other. Let's talk approval requirements. So this is super important when you're actually going to apply for a credit card. A lot of these more beneficial, more point related cards will have an annual salary minimum. So you must make a certain amount each year to apply for that card, or else you're going to get rejected. So before you go applying for a new card and potentially adding a new credit check to your credit score, you want to make sure you're looking at the approval requirements for that card. You will also need to have a certain credit score to be approved for any credit card, and you also don't want to apply to too many credit cards within a short time frame. You also might get rejected just based off of that alone. Okay, let's talk sign up bonuses. So when you decide on a credit card, you're usually going to want to find a credit card that has a great sign up bonus. This is basically an agreement. If you spend a certain amount of money on that card within a certain time frame and you sign up for that card and you aren't a previous user of that card, they will give you a certain amount of points or perks for meeting those requirements. A lot of these bonuses that you get with these credit cards can be more points than you could ever realistically rack up in a single year. For example, getting 100,000 points with a new credit card, it would take me ages to rack up that many points. So what I like to do is once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, I will sign up for a new card that has a really great sign up bonus, and I will use that as a method of continually getting a good amount of points. I do not rely on just holding a credit card and being loyal to one credit card as a method of racking up points. It just takes too long. And then a lot of the times they will also waive the annual fee for that credit card with the sign up bonus. So I recently signed up for a new credit card and they waived the annual fee for the year with the sign up bonus on that card. What I will do after that 1 year is up, after I have used that credit card for 1 year and I have to pay the annual fee the second year, I will just downgrade that credit card to a free version. You can just call that credit card issuer and say, hey, can I downgrade this card? Every credit card company will have a free version. You get to keep your credit availability that credit card offered you. And what this does is it basically allows me to have a much larger amount of credit available to me, so that when my credit cards have, $5,000 sitting on them, like it sometimes happens if you watch my budgeting videos, it doesn't actually impact my credit score because I have so much availability. So I think right now I have something like $90,000 available in credit to me. So when I have $5,000 sitting on my card, it's less than the 10% that would affect my credit score. Sign-up bonuses will typically require a certain amount of money spent on that card within a certain time frame. So let's have a look at the credit card I just recently signed up with. This is the TD First Class Travel Visa Infinite card. And the reason I signed up for this card is it has an amazing sign-up bonus. So this card, if we scroll down here, you can see it requires a minimum personal annual income of $60,000 or a household annual income of $100,000. And then you obviously need to be a Canadian resident, blah, 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 blah. So you can see here the sign-up bonus for the year is waived. The annual fee is listed here, $139. The welcome bonus is a initial welcome bonus of 20,000 TD rewards points when you make your first purchase on the card. Then you can earn an additional 55,000 points if you spend $5,000 within the first 180 days. So the first 3 months. You also get a birthday bonus of 10% of the TD rewards points you have acquired in the year thus far, up to a maximum of 10,000 TD rewards points. You also get an annual TD travel credit of $100, and you get obviously your annual fee rebated for the first year. So this is one of the best sign-up offers I've ever seen. This totals up to, I think, about $1,000 back without having to pay an annual fee. TD credit cards also work with Starbucks, so you additionally get more Starbucks points by just using this card to refill your Starbucks card. You also get 8 times the points back on any Expedia purchases with this credit card. So basically, when I go to apply for a card that has a sign-up bonus like this, the only thing I want to make sure of is, 1, that I haven't applied to too many credit cards recently, but 2, that the amount that I have to use that card isn't outside of my regular spending. I don't want to have to spend more money just to get the points back. Otherwise, it completely negates the benefit of this credit card. When it says you have to spend $5,000 within the first 180 days, that works out to $1,667 in a month. So if you look at my regular budgets, I spend far more than $1,667 on credit cards every single month. So for me, this was a no-brainer. I signed up for it and I just exclusively used that credit card for the first 3 months. I just used this card to book a hotel in Amalfi for my birthday. We were going to stay 2 nights in Amalfi, and it was a $500 plus a night hotel, and I only had to pay $200 by using all of my points and my travel credit. I only had $200 left over. As I mentioned, I will avoid holding on to credit cards that have annual fees. I I like to downgrade them once the year is up. The only one I have kept in my arsenal for quite a while is the RBC Avion. That is $139, and it was my basic travel credit card I was using for a really long time. But I decided I'm going to be canceling that card this year just because I do have this card, and I'm going to be primarily using this card just to rack up as many points as possible, especially because that first year was waived. Me and my boyfriend are also getting the AMEX Cobalt as our couple's credit card, so I will also be using that credit card for all of our shared expenses. You can imagine that there is a lot of keeping track and organization with these credit cards and trying to get the most out of sign-up bonuses. That's why I try to keep it simple. There was a time in my life where I had 5 or 6 credit cards going within the same year, but it just got really complicated to keep track of which cards work for what types of purchases, which cards had, annual fees that were up at certain times of the year, which cards I was using the points of. I find just having 2 to 3 max is just an easier method, and I still get to use credit cards to my benefit. I try to always have a card that works for different types of things. For example, the Cobalt obviously works at restaurants and gas and grocery. I also like having the Neo credit card. It's a completely free credit card, and you can add bundles to that if you want to. So for example, when I travel, I will usually add the travel bundle onto that card, and you get 2% cash back with that travel in any foreign currency. So that kind of helps to counteract foreign conversion rate charge that you're charged on a credit card. I also know that a lot of the grocery stores I shop at do not take Amex, so I will have a MasterCard or a Visa just to cover my bases. For example, Costco only takes MasterCard, so I like to just have one card of each type just so that I can always use a credit card and I don't have to use my debit at specific locations. If you are looking for a great Canadian free credit card with cash back, as I mentioned, Neo is my personal favorite. I always keep my Neo card and I do use it quite a bit. It is my Costco card. I always use it at Costco. I use it at No Frills as well because it has cash back at No Frills, and they have lots of local vendors that they work with for cashback, things like coffee shops and Canadian stores. I will usually just check quickly on my Neo app if that specific location has a cashback bonus, and I will use that card wherever I need to for that. Okay, so I think that is everything for this credit video. This might be a little bit of a quicker video, but I have had this requested just to talk about credit cards in general and my favorite credit cards. Once I cancel my Amex Gold and my RBC Avion, I will just have my TD credit card and then my couple's Cobalt, and then obviously my Neo one. That is my new plan moving forward with credit cards this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.